We all love it when technology just moves fast, like lightning fast. But there's always a but, isn't there? How do we make sure that race for progress doesn't completely fly off the rails? That's what we're digging into today. This incredible balancing act, this dance between brilliant innovation and the rules that are designed to keep us all safe. So, yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so picture this. You wake up, you roll over, grab your phone, and it's just buzzing off the hook. A video of a world leader is everywhere, and it is shocking, and it looks completely 100% real. You can feel the panic starting to build. Governments are scrambling, the experts are all weighing in, and then the big reveal. It's a fake, a deep fake, just a perfectly crafted AI-generated illusion. That one simple question, is this real? It changes absolutely everything. See, this isn't just about some clever piece of software. It's about trust. It's about who gets to control the narrative, the stories that actually shape our world. And that really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. How in the world do we navigate a place where reality itself can be, well, manufactured? To really get a handle on where we are now, we've got to rewind a little bit and see how we even got here. Because this tension, this tug of war, it didn't just pop up with AI. Nope, it started decades ago, way back in the early days of the internet, when everything felt brand new and just full of possibilities. Do you remember the early internet? The dial-up sounds, the chat rooms, online games? It really felt like a whole new world was opening up right in front of us. It was all about connecting with people, discovering new things. But kind of quietly, underneath all that excitement, something else was going on. Our data was being collected, a lot of the time without us even realizing it. And sometimes, even from kids. And then the 2010s hit, and bam, the explosion of social media. All of a sudden, our likes, our clicks, every little personal detail became this incredibly valuable currency. The whole Cambridge Analytica scandal, that was a massive wake-up call for everybody. It showed us just how fragile our privacy really was, and it understandably shook public trust right to its core. Around that same time, this other wild frontier opened up, cryptocurrency. The promise was huge, right? Financial freedom, a new way to do things without all the old gatekeepers. But it was kind of like the Wild West. The market crashes and the scams showed everyone pretty quickly that without any rules of the road, innovation can turn into chaos fast. So you start to see a pattern with every new technology, don't you? First, there's the excitement, and then come the unforeseen problems. And that is exactly where the rules come in. But here's the thing. You got to think of regulation not as a big red stop sign, but more like the brakes and the steering on a high-performance race car. You don't have them to stop the car, you have them to navigate the track safely so you can actually win the race. And this slide right here really lays it out perfectly. It's the two sides of the same coin. On one side, you've got innovation. That's the accelerator, pedal to the metal, pushing us forward. And on the other side, you've got regulation. Those are the guardrails, keeping us from flying off the cliff. The big takeaway? It's not one or the other. You absolutely need both. And if you look back at history, you can see this rhythm play out over and over. First, you get rules to protect kids online, like COPPA. Then, Europe's GDPR came along and gave us all way more control over our own data. And just recently, things like MiCA started to bring some order to the crypto world. It's a really clear cycle. Technology takes a giant leap, we learn from the things that go wrong, and then we create smarter rules for the next time around. Now, what's really interesting is that something is starting to change. We're getting better at asking the right questions a little bit earlier in the process. You're seeing digital ethics being taught in schools across the West now. So the whole conversation is starting to shift from just, hey, can we build this, to the much, much more important question. Wait a minute, should we build this? So how is this all playing out on the world stage? Well, it turns out there's no single rule book that everybody's using. Different countries have come up with their own unique playbooks, and it's created this really fascinating global mosaic of different approaches. Let's take China, for example. Over there, the top priority is stability and control. They've rolled out incredibly strict laws for data, they've banned crypto trading, and they even require watermarks on AI-generated stuff to help fight deepfakes. So innovation is definitely encouraged, but it's always under this very close, very vigilant supervision. Then you've got a place like India, the world's largest digital democracy, I mean, think about it. With over 1 billion people coming online, they are facing this enormous challenge. How do you fuel that incredible tech growth while also making sure there are safeguards in place to protect everybody? One of the really clever ideas coming out of India is this concept of a regulatory sandbox. Now, what is that? Basically, think of it like a practice field for new tech. It's a safe, supervised space where startups can test their ideas without creating these huge, unchecked risks for the public. It lets them innovate, but in a smart, controlled way. So when you zoom out and look at the whole picture, you see this amazing patchwork of philosophies. Europe, they're really championing fairness. The US is betting big on transparency and open collaboration. India is working on that balance between trying new things and keeping a close watch. And China, as we saw, prioritizes order and security. So many different paths, but they're all trying to answer that same huge question. And all of this brings us to the most important part of the story, the future. Because let's be honest, this isn't a problem with a single final answer. It is an ongoing challenge, a constant act of finding that perfect balance. And it's a challenge that, believe it or not, involves every single one of us. So the whole game is about finding that harmony, right? If you have way too many rules, you could totally suffocate the small startups that have the next big idea. But if you have too few rules, you risk creating these massive monopolies and, frankly, causing real harm. The only way forward is to be guided by vigilance, not by fear. There's this incredibly powerful saying that just sums this all up perfectly. If you are not at the table, you are on the menu. Whoa. In our digital world, that's not just some metaphor. It is a stark, real warning. If we don't actively participate in the conversations that are shaping our digital lives, then guess what? Those big decisions are going to be made for us. Because at the end of the day, technology doesn't just shape the future all by itself. People do. We do. It happens through the debates we have, the policies we support, and the collective choices we all make every single day. Staying silent isn't being neutral. It's basically surrendering your say. And so that really leaves us with one final and, I think, critical question. The future is truly ours to shape, and it demands that we get engaged. So as this race between speed and safety keeps on going, what role will you play? Just staying curious, asking questions, that's how we all get to help write the next chapter together.